There were two children walking through the same park with the same grandmother with a purse full of money. Having two very different experiences. But to stop and reason and say, you see, what's happened is they've gotten too good at making the excuses of why someone succeeds and they fail. So they've practiced the momentum. In other words, when someone's success also indicates your failure, ooh, we're really onto something important, which is already a belief in shortage, already a belief that there's only so much happiness and good stuff to go around. Like, if you get it, I can't. And so what are your alternatives? Can you get sick enough that some sick people get well? Can you deprive yourself of abundance enough that poor people will then have abundance? Do you ever stand out on the porch and say, I've breathed far too much of my fair share of air? You don't. You expect it in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And so the best that any of us can do is teach through the clarity of example. And if there is an opportunity, and this is the thing that Esther and those with her were wise enough to understand, a good teaching moment is not when things are going bad. In other words, Esther cannot teach Luke about this disc unless he's on it. And he's on it plenty. Oh, she can hardly wait for those conversations, because he's there much more than he's not. He just wasn't there at the fair, but he's often there. So you just wait for an opportunity when the resonance is already there, and that's when you have your conversation. So if it's someone that occasionally is there with you, the perfect words will flow to you. All we're asking is that you don't make the mistake, using such human terms, of joining them on their disc to try to help them understand how to get on another disc. So the best you can do is get up there. Occasionally they'll just stumble in. Sometimes they'll just wake up and they will not have had enough clarity of mind to shoot themselves in the foot yet. Sometimes there'll just be something happening that's in the environment or in the world that's just giving them a happy enough moment that they'll join you on the disc. And if you really care about them, as you say, because you don't want to leave them behind, then the universe will help you rendezvous in that moment. And you can have that teaching moment where you can say, I remember when I was only getting glimpses of this, and now it's all-day occurrences for me. Enough on that? We can talk on and on about that. It's really an important topic for a room full of teachers like this, because you are uplifted to the very core of your being. And on the one hand, you want to thrive, and on the other hand, you don't want to thrive so much. There are plenty of people that will join you on that high-flying disc. But this is a different conversation. This is, but I'm invested in people that are flying on lower flying discs. What do I do about it? We said, leave them alone. Don't try to improve their life. They will just resent you for it. Teach through the clarity of your example. And in glimpses of alignment, they may ask you. And when they do, you'll have plenty to say. Yeah. So, Jesus said, turn the other cheek. It's interesting, isn't it? Because what you've been taught makes you feel like what you're supposed to do is find people in trouble and go and help them. And we say, well, finding people in trouble is a step one thing for sure. And wanting to help them certainly will cause you to put rockets of desire into your vortex. But if you are to help them, you have to be in vibrational alignment with what you've asked for. So you have to be in vibrational alignment with their success. And when they're not having any, and they're clamoring at you about their lack of success, it takes a very high disc, chronically there person to maintain your vision of their success in their insistence that it isn't happening. It's not fair, Luke said. It's not fair. And Esther wanted to say, nothing has ever been more fair than this fair. It was way fair. You see, it's fair. It's always fair. It's always vibrationally accurate. But until you can convince someone that they have control of the vibration they're offering, then they'll always be looking for another something to blame for their having pinched themselves off from the well-being. And your only chance of helping them no longer pinch themselves off from the well-being is to not pinch yourself off from the well-being while you hold them as your object of attention. Because one who's connected to this stream of energy is more powerful and more influential than millions who are not. And Esther, it was so interesting because she believes in her power of influence. She believes in the law of attraction. She knows about that high disc. And she couldn't get Luke to come up there because his momentum was so strong. Last thing he wanted was a conversation about how his life could get better. He was way too invested in how it was, you see. And that's sort of what goes on. So you could say soft things. You could watch for those moments when they might hear, and you could say soft things like, I know how you feel, I've been there. And it's a momentum thing. And the better it gets, the better it gets. And the worse it gets, the worse it gets. People have heard that. There's a certain amount of understanding in that. Turning point for me was, you could say, when I realized I could control my point of attraction. Those are big words and a lot of people aren't ready to hear them, but everyone wants to know it. Everyone wants to know it. I figured out I can control my point of attraction. And they may attack you. They may say that it's crazy or sure you can, but I can't. And then just say with the confidence that, no, everybody can control their point of attraction. In fact, everybody is. Everybody's getting what they're chronically thinking about. It's just the way that it is. Well, they can protest it, but it doesn't make it less true. And then you could say something even more powerful. There's not a shred of evidence anywhere to the contrary of this that I said. Oh, pretty arrogant in your knowing. Yeah. I'm sure about this. That's why it works for me. That's why I'd like you to be sure about it, because I'd like it to work for you. Nobody wants more than you do for success. You want it, and nobody deserves it more than you. You deserve it. It's just a little tweaking that I wasn't always doing, and now I am. I can show you how to tweak if you're interested. You can tell with far less than this conversation whether they're willing to listen or not, you see. It's so fun. You see, you can't have been banging around with them without putting them and their success in your vortex. So the thing that bothers you more than you even realize about them not letting it in is because you want it so much. That's what Esther realized. Nothing in the world matters more to her than this happy little boy. And when he's not happy, what's she going to do about it? Does Esther's happiness depend upon his happiness? Hopefully not. Because he was determined not to be happy. So Esther's first thought is, oh no, you're not going to spoil everybody's fun. Well, that's really wrong-headed too, isn't it? Nobody can spoil your fun but you. So when you get hold of this and you really know it, the universe will deliver so many opportunities for you to express it in meaningful ways. And the fun of watching somebody get hold of this. The fun we have in watching you get hold of it. The exhilaration we feel in seeing you come to a gathering like this and being willing to listen so patiently for so many hours to us saying essentially the same thing over and over again. Until you find resonance with it that is undeniable to you. Until you get out into your life experience and something happens and a piece of what you heard here clicks in, and then you apply it, and then belief or hope turns to knowing. And just for a moment you have a glimpse of feeling your own power, feeling your own choosing of your vibrational point of attraction, and then watching all forces, everything that keeps everything that you know going, whether it's the electronics that are moving through your walls or the energy that's moving through your body, everything that makes up this physical world in which you are living is vibrationally based. And when you get hold of this knowledge of vibration and you learn to synthesize it through your own emotional beingness, and you start making emotional choices first and then watching the benefits of what comes from the disc that you've chosen, that feeling of invincibility and empowerment, and then willingness and belief that you can convey it to someone else, just stands really strong within you. And then you begin noticing, if there are a lot of people hanging around with you who are rolling their eyes at you, you got to ask what disc you're hanging around on. Because if you don't make a vibrational path of least resistance for them, they can't get in where you are. Ooh, that's worth thinking about. So they might be looking at the trappings of your usual alignment, but if they're hard timing you, you're not on the disc that you think you're on. Not in that moment, you say. That's worth knowing, isn't it? So then you say something to them like, hey, usually I'm hanging around up here where I'm happy. Today, clearly, I've chosen to be down here where you are. We've enjoyed this interaction more than we can explain with words. We've been enjoying the vibrational shifting that has been taking place. We want to acknowledge and honor your willingness to play with us in this way, because sometimes it is slow going in moving energy in that way. It's much easier just to pick an object up and move it over there. But when you do that, nothing changes energetically. Because of your willingness to play along with us, and because of the perfection of those who have sat in the hot seat, we can feel that there's been big time energy movement in understanding. Your world will not respond to you from this point forward as it has been responding to you, because your point of attraction has shifted. Don't try hard to hold in a sort of memory way the things that we've talked about. Just say to yourself, as you are leaving this facility and as you're moving forward in your day, just say to yourself, I think I did get an energy shift. It's going to be fun to see what the outcome of that is. I think I did get an energy shift. It's going to be fun to see what the outcome of that is. I think I did get an energy shift. It's going to be fun to see what the outcome of that is. I think I did get an energy shift. It's going to be fun to see what the outcome of that is. I think I did get an energy shift. It's going to be fun to see what the outcome of that is. I think I did get an energy shift. It's going to be fun to see what the outcome of that is. And once you cross the 68-second mark, I think I did get an energy shift. It's going to be fun to see what the outcome of that is. I know I did get an energy shift. It's going to be fun to see what the outcome of that is. Then as your day unfolds, as this day unfolds, and you get different response from this one, and different response from this one, and different response from this one, then you'll say, I did get an energy shift, and it's fun to watch what the results of that energy shift are. And I intend to keep this energy shift going. I'm going to let my energy shift be first. I'm going to select that disc first, and then I'm going to select the disc, and then I'm going to select the disc, and then I'm going to talk to my kids, and I'm going to select the disc, and then I'm going to get in my car, and I'm going to select the disc, and then I'm going to have a conversation with you. I'm going to select the disc, and then I'm going to write the email. I'm going to select the disc, and then I'm going to choose what I'm going to have for breakfast. I'm going to select the disc, and then I'm going to select the disc. I'm going to select the disc, and then I'm choosing the disc. I'm choosing the vibrational disc. I'm really good at choosing the vibrational disc. This is one of the easiest things that I've ever done. I think today I have finally discovered the path of least resistance to being and doing and having what I've been born to be and do and have. It is our promise to you that that is the case. There is great love here for you. And as always, we remain stubbornly and eternally standing smack dab in the middle of your vortex with the light on. And for now, we are complete.